Good evening, all of you. In this session, we are going to discussing one of the topic in sexual reproduction in flowering plants, that is pollination. Related to pollination, every year frequently they are asking one or two questions from these topics. So we need to focus very carefully in each topics. Now, first of all, we need to discuss about what is the meaning of pollination. Pollination nothing but transferring of pollen grains from anther to the stigma region of the pistil called as pollination. Pollination generally takes place in higher plants. Pollination again two types, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. In case of self-pollination, transferring of pollen grains from anther to the same flower of the stigma region we call as self-pollination. Self-pollination again two types, that is autogamy, geitonogamy. In case of autogamy, within a same flower, both male and female reproductive organ or stamen pistil comes to the same mature state. The pollination takes place within a same flower called as self-pollination, or these are the types autogamy and geitonogamy. In case of autogamy, again two types, that is chasmogamy and clistogamy. Chasmogamy also called open type flowers or homogamy. In this type of flowers, generally self-pollination takes place. Sometimes cross-pollination takes place due to the opening of the flowers. Example for the homogamy or chasmogamy, Catharanthus, mirabilis, potato flower, sunflower, in case cross-pollination is failed. The next second one, clistogamy. It is a type of closed type flowers in which always self-pollination takes place due to the closed type of the flowers. For clistogamy, example, viola, camelina, balsam. These are the examples for the clistogamy. The most important, frequently they are asking question, viola, camelina, oxalis. These plants shows two types of flowers, that is open type of flower and closed type of flowers. The most important for us, in case of the homogamy, carry either self-pollination or cross-pollination. In case of clistogamy, carry only or always carry closed type or self-type pollination. Now come to the bud pollination. The pollination takes place when the flower is present in bud condition, we call as bud pollination. For this example, wheat, paddy and pea plant. Next come to the geitonogamy. Most important, frequent asking question from this geitonogamy. Geitonogamy is transferring of pollen grains from one flower anther pollen grains to the same flower of the same plant of the pistil region. I am repeating the point. Geitonogamy is type of self-pollination in which transferring of the pollen grain from one flower anther to the another flower of the stigma region within a same plant we call as geitonogamy. The best example for the geitonogamy is the maize. Geitonogamy genetically self-pollination, but ecologically or environmentally it is cross-pollination. Now come to the cross-pollination. Cross-pollination also called allogamy or xenogamy. Cross-pollination carried by the agents called as biotic agents and abiotic agents. In case of abiotic agent cross-pollination, these are two examples, that is anemophily and hydrophily. In case of anemophily, those pollination carried by the wind called as anemophily. It is highly wasteful process. In case of entering the cross-pollination. It is the most common type among the abiotic pollinations. In case of anemophily or wind pollination, pollen grain nature or feature of the pollen grains. These are small in size, lightweight, colorless, nectarless, odorless, and produce large number. In case of the anemophily, the flowers are more number of stamens and single pistil or ovules present. Example for the anemophily, grasses and bamboo. Next, hydrophily. Those pollination carried by the water we call as hydrophily. Hydrophily, again two types, that is hypohydrophily, epihydrophily. In case of hypohydrophily, those pollination carried inside the water we call as hypohydrophily. In case of epihydrophily, those pollination take place above the surface of the water we call as epihydrophily. Common example for the hydrophily: Vallisneria, hydrilla, and Joostera, also called seagrasses. In case the last question related to the hypohydrophily, example Joostera. Epihydrophily, example that is Vallisneria. The most important, the features of the pollen grains in hydrophily: neither small in size, colorless, odorless, nectarless, naked pollen grains, or without exine around the pollen grains, and other floral parts are unwettable in case of the hydrophily pollinations. It is generally take place only 30 genera of the species in the monocots. Now come to the biotic pollination. Most of the biotic pollination carried by the insect, that to bees. Bees carry 80% of pollinations. Those pollination carried by the animals we call as zoophily. Those pollination carried by the insect called as entomophily. And those pollination carried by the snails called as malcophily. Those pollination carried by the snakes we call ophiophily. Those pollination carried by the birds we call as ornithophily. Those pollination carried by the bats we call as chiraptophily. Those pollination carried by the ants we call as myrmecophily. Those pollination carried by the human beings we call as anthophily. So these are frequently they're asking questions, especially in the matching type or mismatching type. So read very carefully with examples. Thank you all of you. We'll meet in the next session.